Rooted in faith, rooted in family, rooted in values, rooted in traditions. Welcome to the Rooted Outdoors Podcast. And now your hosts, Corey Bauman and Dave Ashworth.
Welcome to the Rooted Outdoors Podcast. I'm your co-host, Corey Bauman. I'm sitting here with Dave Ashworth. My gosh, we said we were doing the podcast consistently again, and I feel like we haven't done one in like 2 weeks. I mean, this could get off the tracks quick. I mean, there's no preparation for this podcast, but man, I am so excited to get back on and catch up. And there's a lot that we haven't talked about that we're just going to talk about on the podcast to get caught up.
Well, yeah. It's going to be a good podcast when you write the title at the end of the podcast.
So good.
So here we go.
Or you just scrap the whole thing because it's so bad and you just
that could happen too.
But
that could happen too.
Dude, okay. So let me just start up asking you two questions. One,
yes.
I feel like we could probably spend a whole podcast talking about this, but dude, you just got back from Yellowstone, which I know was a lifelong dream of yours to go out to Yellowstone. And one of the coolest things is that you got to go obviously with your family. And I know it was cool to go there with your dad. And I know that was, I can't wait to hear what that was like to experience that with your dad, who's also never been out west. So man, there's Yellowstone. So that's probably the first question. The second question is, are you ready for whitetail season?
It's a loaded question. Loaded question. Let me tackle number one first.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it was the bucket list vacation for me for a very long time. When you talk about seeing animals in the United States, North America, whatever, Yellowstone is number one. They call this one specific valley in Yellowstone, they call it the Serengeti of North America. So it's no joke there. So needless to say, I was really excited. So we went out there. We spent 3 days in Grand Teton National Park, which is it's like an hour and a half south of Yellowstone. So we wanted to see that park while we were there. And then we went up to Yellowstone for about 6 days. So it was awesome, but it was a roller coaster of a vacation, to say the least.
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of it. So I know that the ending wasn't the greatest. So.
It wasn't. So I'll give you a quick recap. So it started out at 2:30 a.m. wake-up call on a Friday. An hour drive to the airport, a 3.5 hour drive to Denver, 3.5 hour flight to Denver, and then an hour and a half flight to Salt Lake City, and then a 5-hour drive to Grand Teton. So that is a long day. That was a long start to the week.
Yep.
Got to the park. So I won't get into I'll just get into kind of the craziness of the week. My wife ended up getting a little bit sick, had to take some antibiotics, and then a couple of days later she got sick in her stomach. We thought it was from the antibiotics, and then Saturday, we were leaving Sunday. Saturday I got sick, so it was not the antibiotics. It was a stomach bug that was being passed around. So I ended up having that all day Saturday. Woke up at 4 o'clock on Sunday morning and basically did the entire trip back the same as we did before. So it was brutal 2 days, to say the least.
I remember you texted me asking for prayers, and you were like, I'm like so sick that I might literally not be able to fly home tomorrow. So I knew you were hurting.
So then on the way to the airport, the morning of going home, my dad started feeling sick. They didn't even end up coming back on the flight with us. They ended up getting a hotel, and they flew back the next morning. Thankfully, he wasn't sick. Something just happened, but and he was fine, but he was not feeling good. So it was just it was crazy. But in between all of that, it was a really cool place. The first day we got there, we slept in, obviously, after that long day, got into the park. We went to this one spot that we were going to come back in the morning to see moose at like 6 a.m. They said they've been seeing them every morning. So we're like, let's just go to this spot. It's not far, scout it out. And then when we get back here at 6 in the morning, when it's dark, we'll know exactly where to go. So we get there, it's like 10:30. What do you know? There's 3 bull moose laying down in the grass
Oh,
in the
that's awesome.
campground. So that was like kicked it off. So that was awesome. And it was just a beautiful place, like huge plains, huge mountains. I'm like a sucker for pine trees, and there's just pine trees everywhere. Like you just smell the air, and it just smells like pine. Like
That's awesome.
it's amazing.
So
Um,
did the moose let you get close, or are they?
yeah. No, he just laid there.
Yeah,
Eventually, he stood up and was just feeding off a little bit, and then he laid down again. So that was really really cool. And then the last day that we were there, we ended up seeing a grizzly,
you
and
did.
I did see a grizzly. It wasn't close. It was through some spotting scope, but I did see a grizzly.
That's awesome.
And we saw some wolves, which
Mm,
was crazy. I've never seen a wolf before. So there was a gray wolf that was laying down. It was a pack of 21 wolves.
wow.
The gray wolf that we saw was laying down. The rest of them were kind of over this embankment that you couldn't see.
Hmm.
So I only saw her, and then actually a black wolf ended up coming out and like working in and out a little bit. So we did end up seeing those, which was, I mean,
So
there's in the entire park is like 2.2 million acres. I think
wow,
there's 5 packs of wolves. So there's like 90-ish wolves. So to get to see a wolf in 2.2 million acres, there's
wow.
only 90 of them was pretty cool.
So I know wolves are like incredibly smart, like incredibly
Yes.
intelligent, I should say. So
Yes.
like I don't know much about wolves, but first of all, I guess how did you know it was a female? And then was the female like laying in front of the pack because she was like looking out for the rest of the pack, or like how does it work? Do you
So
know?
I did not know it was a female. I just
Oh,
said her. The guy that I was talking to kept saying her, but he didn't know either. Um, I'm assuming that she was laying there kind of guarding. They were saying that they probably had like a carcass or something back in the woods, so
oh,
they were eating.
yeah.
So that's probably why she was laying there, and then the other one kind of popped out. They had a bunch of pups too, so that was the
Mm,
black one was probably like a pup who was just kind of running around a little bit, but
that's
it was
awesome.
really really cool. And those people like study them every day. There's like they were actually extinct from the park, and then they reintroduced them into the park, and like there's this whole story with them, and I don't know, it's just fascinating stuff. It's really really cool.
Yeah, well, and we have been joking around because I actually didn't even know you saw a grizzly. Like I said, we haven't even talked much about it, and
Yeah.
I've been saying like, dude, you got to get a good
uh,
photo of a grizzly. But like,
yeah,
wolves are incredible
I
animals.
know, yeah. people people there like seeing the wolves much more than the grizzly, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did see a couple more cool things. I mean, a lot of bison are everywhere, a lot of like pronghorn, mule deer, elk. The one thing I didn't do was hear an elk bugle, and I
Hmm,
really, really wanted to, like so bad. I, s- I actually saw some bugle,
hmm.
but with like the noise of the traffic and stuff, I couldn't hear it. So I was like kind of disappointed with that. But we did see a cinnamon black bear, which I'd never seen one of those before.
That's cool.
There's 5 colors of black bear. I learned that. This is the cinnamon one, which is cool. And then the last thing that we saw was mountain goats. So we were driving, there was this huge cliff, saw a couple people out in the car, and so we pulled over and we're just kind of glassing this cliff, and it was like full of mountain goats,
Wow,
like just these white dots. So that was pretty cool.
that's
So
crazy, man.
yeah, so it's just a beautiful place. It's really,
Checked it
really cool.
off, man. You checked it off the bucket
I
list.
did. I did. Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not happy that she got sick. I'm not glad about that piece,
Yeah.
but I am glad that you get out there. What'd your dad think of that place?
Yeah, he liked it too. He liked it too. I mean, he had never really seen anything like that. He he like loves, for whatever reason, is always been fascinated with like grizzly bear.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish we could have seen one like a little bit closer, because that was kind of what like our main thing we were trying to see.
Yeah.
Um, but he did end up like looking in the scope and seeing it. So that was pretty cool.
How far off do you think it was?
It
A
was
couple hundred?
far.
More than a couple
No,
hundred
no,
yards.
no, no. The guy said
1,000 yards.
like a mile.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's far. Yeah. I mean, you could clearly see it in I mean, these guys' spotting scopes are insane.
Yeah.
You can clearly see it and like watch it and stuff, but like naked eye, you wouldn't see it ever.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that was kind of like a couple things that kind of took away from it for me. That's why I kind of said it was kind of up and down. Obviously,
Yeah.
the sickness didn't help, but for me, like looking through a spotting scope and seeing animal like that far away, it was cool that I got to see it, but it didn't like get me as excited as some other things. Like when you see an animal up close and you're like in its environment, like that to me is cool. And obviously I like taking pictures too. Can't take a picture of something a mile away. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that, and there was a lot of that in the park. It's these plains are just so vast, and the valleys where the animals hang out the most are just so vast that like they don't really need to get close to the road, to be honest. Like they do, but you're kind of lucky if you see one up close because they have so much land.
Do they let you go anywhere in Yellowstone? Like, can you just hike in and just go anywhere?
I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't like 100% sure. I wasn't 100%. It seemed like it for the most part. And there's a lot of hiking trails that you can go in on. It kind of seemed like you could kind of just do whatever, but I didn't really know. I mean, we kind of just stayed on the road and some small hiking trails and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that was just like, not I didn't enjoy it quite as much as I could have. And then the other thing is just the traffic.
Yeah.
As you know, like some of the best times in the woods, even if you're not seeing animals, are just when it's like you and it's peaceful, right? And it's quiet. And I feel like when you're seeing like these beautiful mountains and like you just want to take it all in, and when there's like cars just like blowing by and like pulling in and like a lot of noise and hustle and bustle, it just kind of takes away from it a little bit for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think of that. I think about these like 2 million acres, and I picture just like driving on these like country roads, these like really like
No.
windy roads, and not
So
seeing too
there's
many people. But
so there's like this was different than some of the other parks I've been to. There was like kind of like a couple main loops of roads, and now it's 3-4 hours to get from one side of the park to the other, so it's big, but there's not a lot of like roads in between. It's like a couple main roads and like everybody's on them. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how they develop the park. And I get it. Like you don't want to just cut roads through the whole park. Like you kind of ruin the environment, the habitat.
Yeah, for sure.
But when everybody's on the same roads, again, it just kind of comes back to like just the traffic and people everywhere. And I feel like it just takes away from it like a little bit. Like the one day, and this will be my last thing, we were like right on the border of Montana and Idaho, and there was this huge national forest. I think it was like close to 3 million acres national forest. It was crazy. It was in Idaho, and you can hunt there, by the way, so might be something to consider for the future. But anyway, we drove through there. We didn't really see any animals, but there was nobody out there. And like, I loved that. Like I got like goosebumps, like being up on roads and just seeing this just like vastness, and there's nobody out here. And I like got out of the car a couple times and just like took it in. And it was just like, I don't know. That was like really, really cool for me. So.
Yeah, I can get that, dude. I can relate to that. I would have felt the same way. Same way. Like you travel all the way out there too, and you want to have a little bit of. I feel like I know it's tough because you're like with the fam and stuff. I feel like I would have had to like get up one morning and just like hike out into the middle of nowhere, like to take photos at sunrise or something.
Right. Yeah,
it's tricky.
But it was cool. It was cool. So that was Yellowstone. I'm sure I'll be back someday. But it was cool to check it off. So.
Very cool, man.
So I know you asked me a second question.
Yeah.
But I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna throw it back to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are
Well,
you ready for whitetail season? And what is happening? I know you have like your big
dude.
Hagerman hunt.
Yeah.
But what's happening? Like, you ready? Like, what's going on?
I feel like this year's going to be big. I don't know. I know
Mhm.
we've been talking a lot about it since you got back and stuff, but it's such a different year for me. Like I feel like last year I was just like exploring and I was like, whatever. Like I'll just check out Texas a little bit, and if I shoot a deer, shoot a deer. Like,
Hmm.
and then we had the week at the farm and stuff. That was, the week at the farm is still going to be a major thing, but I mean, this whole Hagerman thing's got me like
Mhm.
completely obsessed with this
It's
place. I
awesome.
mean, it is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like it's nothing like I've ever experienced. It's so hard to explain scouting 11,000 acres by like with a map. You've never been there before. It's completely vast land. I mean, there's definitely hiking trails and stuff like that. But dude, in 11,000 acres, you can get pretty deep in there, and
Yeah.
the amount of sign, there's so much sign that it's really hard to kind of pinpoint where to hunt, right? And
Yep.
I found some spots where there's some buck sign where I think maybe some bucks are have bedded, and maybe like a fall range for some bucks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and every time I go out, I narrow it down a little bit more, and I'm constantly. As a matter of fact, Jen came in the other night and she's like she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just analyzing my maps because." Like I just study the maps. Like I look at the maps, like I'll go
Yeah.
out and if I find signs somewhere, even if it's the smallest little sign, a couple tracks here, what could be some sort of feed, like even like a lone oak tree, like things like that.
Yep. Yep.
I found a lone oak tree in a spot where there really isn't any other. I mean, there's other oaks somewhere, but not like in the vicinity.
Right.
This was like a month ago, and I bumped a deer literally like 50 yards from this oak tree. Now, of course, the acorns aren't falling yet, but well, they're starting to here. I don't know what it's like in Pennsylvania, but they're starting to hit the ground a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think quite yet from what I've noticed. I could be wrong. I haven't checked recently, but
Yeah, they're probably not. Here and there, they're probably hitting the ground, but they're
yeah.
pretty green still too.
Yeah,
But
everything's pretty green here.
so like spots like that, I go, well, that's probably going to be a hot spot, in November when they're looking for food. But then you run into like three other places where you're like, yeah, but I want to hunt here. You're like, it's
Right.
really hard to narrow it down. I really have to have, because it's 3 days, so I have to have. I mean, I'd like to have six spots that I could hunt where I've at least picked out a vicinity of a tree.
Yep.
Um, for a couple reasons. One, if I end up running into anybody else, then I've got other spots obviously to go to,
Sure.
and I can bounce around because I just don't know what to expect. And like,
Sure.
do I do all
Yeah.
day sits? Do I pop around? Like, it's just there's so much to think about, but at the same time, I don't want to overthink it because in the back of my head, I go, well, this could be like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you could never be back here ever again. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And at the same time, I want to enjoy it, and I don't want to put like a million, like I don't want to put a ton of pressure
Of
on
course.
myself.
Of
There's
course.
there's huge deer in there. I mean, there definitely is, because everybody I talk to says the same thing. There's big deer in there. There's I forget where I was talking to a guy that I met that did actually bow hunter ed, and he's been really, really helpful. And he's hunted like 10 times in the Hagerman. He's drawn this over his lifetime, and he lives up there and all stuff.
Yeah.
He said most, this is crazy, most of the deer that are shot in the Hagerman are non-typical deer over 150.
That's crazy.
Most.
That's crazy.
So like, there's just big deer in there, and
Right.
like I guess the coolest thing, the idea of it is that like I've already envisioned the whole thing. And I know obviously it doesn't go like you want it to all the time, but like I've envisioned like climbing the tree in the dark in the morning, watching it get light, and like honestly, never in my life have I sat in a tree where I feel like, I mean, a true giant deer could
Right.
walk by at any moment. A 200-inch deer could walk by. Like, it's
Right.
definitely that type of place.
Right.
I
There's
mean,
not a lot
there's
of places like that around. So to
on
have
public land, right? It's
right.
not, it's not a ranch. It's not whatever. It's public
Right.
land,
Right.
and it's no pressure.
Yes,
Literally no
I
pressure.
mean, that's the key. Yeah. I mean, it's no pressure, nobody hunting. The deer can get big. And then when you go in, like there is no pressure, which is It's pretty wild. Pretty
Yeah,
wild.
the deer are going to be different too because there's no pressure, right? So
Yeah,
like
they are.
the things that we think about, like think about all the suburban hunting we've done, right? Where like deer just naturally know to look up into trees because they get arrows, like arrows are
Right.
coming at them from trees, arrows and bullets, right? Like they
Right.
just know that stuff. And even on the farm, you know what I mean? Like
For
they don't
sure.
do it as much, but out there, they're not
There's
doing
still
it.
hunter. Yeah, there's still hunters around. Like anywhere in Pennsylvania you go,
Yeah.
like there's not a spot where deer really aren't pressured. Now I know some people probably have some pretty big farms and stuff, but like I'm sure if someone has like a really good farm, I bet every single property around them just gets hammered.
Yeah.
So there's pressure everywhere. You can't get away from it.
But like there, like dude, they're not looking in trees for people
No.
because it's not their natural instinct anyway. The reason they
Right.
look in trees is because they get conditioned to it.
I mean, they get hunted 3 weekends a year. Like
That's it.
it's nothing.
And 11,000 acres with 75 guys in 11,000 acres. That's
Yeah.
it. Like the
Nothing.
chances, I mean, actually a really good chance that if you're in a really good spot and you see a mature deer, right? There's a really good chance that deer's never even seen a human before. Like that's insane.
I know. It is insane.
So,
Insane.
anyway, but that's
So
the
I
Hagerman. So
Yeah. So I had a question for you.
yep.
So as you're kind of going out looking at sign, obviously there's all types of things you can look at, right? There's
Yeah.
normal sign, rub scrapes, you can look for beds, you can look for terrain, you can look for creek, whatever. Like, how are you in your head ranking those things? Are you looking for like certain ones and saying, okay, this one's better than this one? Are you looking for spots that maybe have like multiple pieces of sign that kind of come together? Like, just to kind of get into your mindset a little bit, I feel like that'd be helpful for myself, but for other people too, to kind of just hear like how you're approaching it from that standpoint.
So, so yeah, it's kind of hard to answer, but some of it is just naturally what we know deer do as a whitetail deer.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that there's places that it doesn't matter whether you're in Texas, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, deer are going to look for the same similar things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this, like you've probably heard this already, and we talk about it a lot. It's like deer like edges.
Mm-hmm.
In Pennsylvania, the edges is different. Like it's you know, it could be a crop field and then it's timber. I mean, it could be thick timber.
Sure.
The edges out in Texas aren't necessarily like that. There's some of that, but the edges are just different. So you just have to get used to like transitioning edges. And
Right.
I picked up on that really early when I started scouting in the Hagerman. All of the heavy trails are on edges, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also know that the thing you have to think about there though is that a lot of the heavy game trails are actually pigs.
Hmm.
And I learned that from a guy, and he said you just have to be careful. He's like, you got to really kind of really pay attention, really observe what you're looking at. He said it's things that like you probably would think of normally, but like if you look at a barbed wire fence and it's a lot of fences and stuff too. So even though the Hagerman it's basically a natural refuge, a national refuge, right?
Yeah.
There's barbed wire fences everywhere in the
Hmm.
Hagerman, right? So there's fence crossings. So you look for stuff like that. But if you see a huge game trail and it's ducking under, it's ducking under like a barbed wire fence, it's probably not a deer, it's pigs.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
you kind of have to look at that and take it for what it is. And in all honesty, it's probably not mature deer anyway that are traveling on those
Probably
big
not.
trails. They're right off of the big trail or whatever.
Right.
So I've looked at that. Um, it's like gathering pieces of like evidence every time you go out, right? And then what I do is I look at things on the map, then I go out and I'm looking for food for one, right? So I know that there's oaks.
Yep.
The oaks are really sporadic though. So when you find oaks, they're pretty concentrated in a specific area. And then you could
Yep.
walk for another mile and not find another oak tree.
That's huge.
Huge. So oaks, I think, are going to be big, especially that time of year. I know that you could talk to probably 10 different guys and get 10 different answers. Well, deer only eat oaks for a certain time period and then they get sour. I've heard that that's not true. I've heard that they'll eat oaks all year long. And I've actually talked to somebody that hunted the Hagerman that said they're eating the oaks in November and December. So even if they're on the ground, they're still eating them.
Sure.
There's a lot of CRP fields, a lot of high fields where the deer can bed.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like in November either, right?
Yeah, we
So
were talking about that the other night. It's like that happens in Pennsylvania, right? It's
yeah,
like you pick a spot and you're like you're tucked into a tree and it's tight cover, and then middle of October comes and you're like you're looking around and you're like,
yeah,
what the heck happened? Like there's nothing here, right? So that, and I'm sure being in Texas now, like you probably don't have even like as much awareness of like what's gonna go away and what's not. Like I
mhm,
still struggle with that in Pennsylvania at times, let alone kind of a new
yeah.
state. That's going to be, another curveball as well.
I think too, like no matter how much I've scouted, I told you this the other day, like there's no doubt before I get in the tree stand that first day, I'll have put probably over 40 to some 50 hours of scouting in there. And I
Yep.
still feel like while I'll have six probably pretty good spots to hunt, I haven't touched the surface. Like, I mean,
Oh,
there's a
I,
whole management unit that I actually won't have even gone to.
right, right. I mean, we hunt the
Um,
farm. It's 200 acres, and I haven't even touched it all. Like,
yeah.
I'll be learning that probably for the rest of my life.
So
That's
the one thing
rough.
I've been thinking about, which you and I haven't talked about, is wind direction, right? And this is where I think it's where I'm starting to challenge myself that I haven't just had that experience before to really go into a brand new area. Because like take the farm for example, we know how the deer travel the farm, we know where they bed, and you can know, you kind of know if you set up a stand you can hunt it on a certain wind, right? Well, I don't necessarily know exactly
Right,
where the deer are bedding. I have an
right,
idea, so I can kind of play the wind, but when it's going to boil down to it is I'm going to have to take my best guess on where I think the deer could be coming from. The problem is the food is so sporadic too that I'm not sure. I know for a fact I'm not going to be 100% sure where the deer are feeding. So
right.
it's just so much, it's so spread out, and
Yeah,
it's not, the edges are there, but they're not defined like they are
yeah,
in a crop field.
yeah.
And so it's going to be tough to pick the spots based on wind. I'm going to do the best I can.
Right, right,
I'm looking for areas that, honestly, I'm looking for areas like I told you, the spot I found, it kind of sits up, it's elevated. It's a piece of timber, really thick, but not the type of timber that you can you can hang a tree stand in.
right.
But I know for a fact there's deer bedding in there, just by the way the terrain rolls down into a creek bottom. I just know that they're in there, and so I've got to figure out. That's one of my hot spots. I'm trying to figure out
Right.
how to hunt that. We talked about it.
Yep.
Um, I don't know, man. It's putting pieces together. Last thing I'll say though is that
Yep.
what I'm trying to do is, if I go in, I'm trying to bump deer. Like even this time of the year, like I'm just
Like
trying to bump deer.
scouting, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, scouting,
Or
right? So
yeah, yeah.
I want to bump deer because I want to know where they're at, right? So if I
Right.
bump a deer, boom, I mark it on my Onyx map, and I've put together different spots in this one management unit where I bump deer, where I think there's food and bedding, and then areas. So there's a lot of creek bottoms, there's a lot of creeks, and there's creeks running all through these units, and the deer are definitely traveling these creeks, there's no doubt. So looking for creek crossings,
Yep.
areas where I can connect, where I saw one deer and I saw another deer, and then I look at the terrain and I go, now was that a ditch where the deer are traveling back and forth? And I just need to get in their path, honestly. I need
Right.
to get in
Right.
their path somehow. I don't need, in my mind, I don't necessarily need to be, if I find good bedding and stuff, I'll hunt really close to it or whatever, because
Sure.
you're there for 3 days. Like you got to
Yeah.
jump
Yeah.
in and just dive in. So,
Yeah. And there's tons of acres, so like if you blow up a spot, just move along.
hmm hmm
And I think a key too is just going to be willingness to be mobile, right? If you observe something that's happening at a spot and you're not like in it,
yeah,
like you got to make a move and get in it, right? If you see like, okay, a buck came through and he went this way, right? And then another one comes this way and it's 100 yards away, like you got to get in that, right? Because
100%.
you're using that. So I think being mobile is something that is probably going to be really important because like you said, like you can scout and you can do all, you'll get as the best spots that you can, but you might not be quite in bow range, and that you might just have to tweak it a little bit once you get in there to finish off those 50 yards or those 30 yards so you can get those shots to where the deer are actually moving,
Yeah.
uh, which could be key.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be, I'm going to be aggressive. I know we talked a little bit about, maybe taking like half a day to observe, and I may do that.
Yeah,
Like I'm not, but at the same time, like I'm going to hunt it different than we would hunt probably anywhere
sure,
else. Cause it's 3
sure.
days. If you mess up a spot, it is what it is. Like you messed up a
Right.
spot, you're not coming back anyway. So,
No.
get aggressive, because I think that's the only way you're going to kill a big deer in there anyway too.
Yeah.
Even if they're not pressured, they're still very smart.
Smart, of course, 100%.
And there's a lot of coyotes and a lot of, there's a lot of coyotes out there that are chasing them around. So,
Right. Yeah.
which, by
That's
the way,
cool,
you
though.
can't shoot a coyote in the Hagerman.
Really?
Can't shoot 'em.
Interesting. Is there like is there a lot of them in there?
Ton.
Or really?
Ton.
You don't let you shoot them?
Won't let you shoot them. So they're protected. You can shoot a buck. Well, it's basically the same Texas game, whatever the rule book says for regulars, it applies to Hagerman. So I could essentially shoot 2 bucks. I won't, but you can shoot 2 bucks in there, because one has to be I think the inside spread has to be like 13 or something like that. And then the other one can be like pretty much, it's pretty much a young deer, unless it's an old deer, like a really old deer that's really regressed. It's basically a really young deer, like a spike or something like that. I forget exactly what it is, and then I can shoot 2 doe actually in there. So I will definitely try and shoot a doe, because if you shoot a doe, you automatically get drawn for next year.
Golden ticket.
Got
to do that.
Golden ticket. It's crazy how they do that, but
that's cool.
I'll be in there shooting a doe, hopefully.
For sure. That's sweet, man. That's sweet. I'm excited for you. Excited to follow along.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be there, but that's not till November. So I know we've been talking about that, but dude, so I don't know how many days it is exactly, but we're like 25 days away from our hunt.
It's coming
on the farm. We're doing mid-October this year. Last year we did November.
Yeah.
And why the heck did we decide to do mid-October again?
One was we needed to switch up the timing because your Hagerman hunt a little bit.
That's true. Yep.
But we've never put a lot of emphasis on that time in October. And I don't know, just going for it. We trail cameras have told us that things start to heat up pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of like mid to the second half of October, like pre-rut. And so we're going to get in there and go for it and see what happens.
Dude, how about these cell cams we got up this year?
I know.
It's a game changer.
It is fun, man.
By the way, I don't think we got an email today.
I know. We
What's
did
up
not.
With that? I'm looking right now.
Yeah, take a look. Live looking. I don't think we got anything. But yeah, cell cams they are fun. So we invested in the Cuddy Link system this year, which if you're not familiar with the Cuddy Link system and you're interested in cellular trail cams, highly recommended. It's basically a system where you have one cell cam and then you have a bunch of other ones that send all the pictures to the cell cam, and then that one sends the pictures to you.
Yeah.
You can have 16 cameras on one system. So essentially you can have 16 cell cams working. So we have a hub and 4 other ones. So we say 5 cell cameras on the farm, which I was expecting to have 1 this year, because I was like, I'm going to get a cell cam. And I thought 1, right? Because they're not cheap.
Yeah.
And when I found about this system, I was like, I can get more. And then next year I can add a couple more just by the cameras, which aren't like super expensive.
Yep.
It's basically the price of like a higher end regular trail camera, and just add to the system. And man, they're fun. And we have them at like a bunch of our main stands, so we'll know what's hot and what's not, and it's gonna be fun.
Well, the other ticket was the mock scrapes we put in this year.
We did.
And, like, it's cool to see that too. And I know I've heard that deer will check out scrapes like all year long. Like, of course they're not as intense, but like doe and buck will check out scrapes, and they have been since the second they were put in.
Kind of didn't believe it. Like, I saw the people do it, right? I'm like,
whatever.
Like, it's actually gonna work. Like, okay, maybe like a young buck will go to it. Like, there's no way does are gonna go to it. Like, there's no way anything's gonna happen in like August.
Yeah.
As soon as we put those things in, they've been going to them. Like, really, really cool to see. And so I'm excited that like scent's being laid down like constantly there. And when the pre-rut starts to kick in, I just feel like some of those are going to really heat up, and it's going to be cool. And I think we'll also be able to see like if deer travel through the farm that maybe are coming through one time, you
Hmm.
give a pretty good chance for them to stop by one of those and check the scent,
Yep.
uh, which is pretty cool too. So we'll see, man. I'm pretty optimistic at this point.
We're optimistic, and then there's a little bit of a wrench that could be
There's a
thrown
wrench.
into the whole hunt.
Yep,
We
yep,
can't
yep.
You can't go any further without mentioning
I
that
know.
half
Yeah,
the farm, not half the farm, but like
yeah.
a good chunk of the farm is going to be logged, and we knew it was coming. And so here's the thing about logging, right? So it's a really, really good thing. Like, it is a really good thing for the farm,
Yep,
for the owner of the farm, and it will be a good long-term thing too for habitat for deer. I mean, definitely, no doubt.
yep.
Selfishly, we found out that the logging is going to start October. Well, could start October. They got the green light, so it could
It
literally
did.
start October 1st.
It did.
Maybe not, but if it starts October 1st, it's definitely going to do some stuff to the deer patterns. There's no doubt, because
It is.
it's a whole, there's a huge oak flat area of the farm that they're going to be basically timbering. So yeah, I don't know, man.
We'll see. Yeah, it's been like a range of emotions with that. And it's like at times it's like really frustrating, and I'm not blaming anybody, like
Hmm.
it's I get why it's being done, and it makes complete sense, and
Yeah.
like we're really the only ones that hunt the farm, and
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to cater to us at all.
No,
Like
not at
we
all.
have we have permission to hunt the farm. Like
Yeah.
that's like one of the biggest blessings in and of
Huge,
itself. Like just
hugely. Yeah.
so much gratitude to be able to do that.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
but it's at times it's like I think about it and I'm just like, man, like the work that I've put in, like almost like busting my butt in the summer leading up to this and checking cameras, and then the time I'm going to spend in the tree, and it's like this could kind of mess things up pretty good. But then we were kind of having a conversation the other day, and it's like, man, the end of the day, like God's completely in control of our season. Like if He wants us to kill a big buck, like on that farm this year or two of them, it's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
if He wants Hercules to come back, we don't even know if he's dead, and He wants me to kill him this year,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. Like you can only control what you can control,
Yeah.
and like I know I put in the work. And if part of his plan is to have the part of the farm logged in October and November,
Yeah.
then there's a reason for that, and we're just going to kind of roll with it.
Yeah. Dude, I couldn't agree more. I know I've been thinking a lot about that and what you said, about, there's a lot of times in our lives where there's a lot of obstacles put in the way, and it the obstacles distract you from being too focused, I think, sometimes on what really isn't most important anyway, right? And then the distractions are there, and the hurdles are there, and then all of a sudden it happens anyway, right? And I think we're constantly being tested.
Yeah,
Faith is being tested on those things and what we're really focusing on. And I think, like you said, dude, like if we're gonna kill a buck there, it doesn't matter whether they're timbering the farm or they're not timbering. It's going to happen if it's his plan, and we just got to go with it, man. And
yeah,
it could it's definitely gonna, if it happens during our hunt, I mean, it's gonna challenge us, no doubt.
for
But
sure.
there's also a huge piece of public that
There is.
that we could get into for 5 days, so we'll be fine.
We will. We will. Yeah, it's like you said, it's all part of the plan. And I think like just looking back over the past like couple seasons and how like our mindset's been changing and how God's been challenging us in different ways. I know we talked a lot like last year leading up to the farm week. We put just so much pressure on ourselves to just like hunt like dark to dark. You know what I mean? Just
Yep.
like, oh man, we're gonna grind it out. Like nothing's gonna stop us. Blah blah blah. Like
Mhm.
we put so much pressure on ourselves to do that, and then we get there, and the first day it's pouring rain all day, and
Yeah.
then the next day it's raining half the day, and then the next morning it's gonna sleet, and it's like and we let that like I know me like I let that get to me. It's
Yeah.
like okay, I built this up like in my head like I need to do this or I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to be successful. And then God was just teaching us like it's not about that. Like it's about the experience. It's about being there. And we already talked this year about just like rolling with things. And now we, have the logging thing to kind of deal with. And it's just like we already said, like, we're going to have more fun. Like, whatever happens, we're going to roll with it. And then it's almost like God's like, well, here you go. You
Yeah,
said you were going to do it.
that's true.
Go and prove it. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I
it's
know.
kind of cool to think about it that way. But yeah, I don't know if you had any other thoughts on just kind of our mindset going into this year versus like previous years, because I feel like it's different this year.
I think honestly, I think we go with the flow. We've got a lot of cool things this year. I think like a little bit different too. Like I know the one thing that I'm looking forward to is and I know we've talked about it before, but let's just mention again. So back in 2016, I think that was the second year we hunted together, maybe.
Probably around then, yeah.
Um, I had been hunting public land all my life, and this specific spot I've been hunting for like, close to 10 years probably.
Yeah.
And found a pretty good spot, did some scouting one day and found a pretty good spot. And we went in and hunted, and I ended up killing a deer, a good deer. And we filmed it and we spent the day together. And it was just like, it's like just one of those memories that we'll just have forever.
Forever.
And so when I fly in on the 16th of October, you're going to pick me up at the airport. We're going to probably grab a Wawa coffee because my gosh, I need my Wawa coffee when I get
For
there.
sure. It'll be in the car like last year.
I love it. I love it. We're gonna be excited, and we're gonna drive right to the state park where where I shot this deer, and we're gonna go literally to the exact same tree. And we're gonna start our week there, which is gonna be really cool. We're gonna film the whole thing, put something really cool together. With probably combine the two groups, the two footage pieces or pieces of footage that we have from 16, and then also what we do out there. Man, I'm just looking forward to it. That's just gonna be fun. I don't expect anything, but like it'll be cool to climb the tree and kind of reminisce as we go down that road.
For sure. And it's crazy too, man. Like expectations for that are like 0, right?
0.
But it's a lot of times, it's those times where like something crazy happens. So we'll see. It's gonna be
It
fun.
could happen. I will tell you this though, it's got to be a big one to shoot in there. Like it's got like if I'm gonna start the week off, and I don't want to sound like whatever, like oh I'm gonna wait for this giant deer. It's just but we'll have a whole week at the farm. If it's a good deer, like I'm gonna shoot it. There's no doubt. But I have no expectations. It's got to be a pretty good deer for me to shoot it in there. Maybe a doe might be good to get a doe out of the way and get some meat. But
yeah. Nice.
It'd be fun, man. Be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Expectations, honestly, I think we have really good opportunities and cool opportunities. I know you've connected with a couple people. You might be doing some public land hunting this year.
I might be.
Your private spots kind of dried up a little bit.
To say they dried up is generous.
Dude.
They're pretty much gone. But it's okay. Like I'll enjoy it. I'll go out and film for other people. I'll hit some public land and whatever, if God wants me to hunt, find some more private spots. I mean, let's face it, I've been pretty blessed for a long time with some private spots, like way more than a lot of people.
Yep.
And I just got to put in some more work to find them. They're around here. I have tried some different things, but it'll happen. I'll figure out a plan. And but this year, who knows?
Yeah.
Up in the air.
It's a wild card this year for you, but again,
is.
it could be really cool. And I think too, like last year, maybe the year before. I mean, obviously we were chasing Hercules, so update on Hercules is there's no update because we don't have a picture of him after November 17th, I believe it was, of last year. We don't have his sheds. We haven't had a picture, and we haven't seen a picture of him yet this year in any of the cell cams. And we've definitely got cell cams in areas where he frequented last year at this time. So there's a shot in the dark that he could show up when we're in the tree. I mean, Dave said that the other day. You said that the other day. And I truly believe that definitely could happen. But, our focus has been different. It hasn't been on just this one deer. We've been looking at a couple different deer.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy that's shown up at the farm yet, but actually I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Because let them show up middle of
They'll
October. I'm
come.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. But all right, let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk about new gear for this. Okay, so I know that we have a couple things that we're both pretty excited about.
Yeah.
So new gear. You kicking us off here?
Yeah. Let me just lay the foundation here.
Lay it down. Lay it down.
So let's picture this, right? So I'm definitely the guy that's known to like not buy a ton of like clothes period, but if I do buy clothes, it's usually hunting clothes. But I'm telling you right now, I haven't bought like new hunting clothes in years.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I bought new hunting clothes, I bought Kuiu pants and a Kuiu shirt. Literally, that's it. I had a hat. I don't even wear it anymore. It's like too small. And then other than that, I've got probably like some Realtree pants. I do have some scent blocker stuff, like when that was big and out there. I don't buy stuff like that. But this year I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some good hunting clothes because different climates too. Like it's really hot here. I mean, it's still today was awesome, but it's been like 90s. I mean, it could be in the 90s in mid-October here. So like it's just different. And I needed to get stuff. Like I have an old, I don't even know what brand it is. Like I have an old like winter camo jacket that I've worn for years. Like,
Oh yeah.
And that's it. Like that's
Classic.
all I have, dude, for that.
Wow.
So I don't have a ton of stuff.
If I had what you had, I would have been done hunting 5 years ago because I would freeze in September, let alone like, I mean, the dude goes out there in like this like paper thin, like quarter zip. And I'm like bundled up in like a heated suit. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he's just like, whatever, I'm fine.
I don't know what it is. I just like I'll layer it up, but it's such a hodgepodge of like stuff. I mean, I've got like a Remington like beanie and like, dude, it's hilarious. It literally is hilarious. And so here's what I'll say: like it's definitely not about. I know we joke around. We're just saying how like, well, you got to look good to kill a big deer, which is
it's a complete joke.
Not true. But like at the same time, I think it is really good to have quality. If you're going to spend a lot of time out there, it's good to have quality gear. And I've been wanting to invest in some good stuff. And so I pulled the trigger, got myself some Sitka stuff. And man, I'll tell you what, like I haven't worn it yet, obviously out there, but I tried everything on and it's quality stuff. Like everybody says Sitka's quality stuff, but it really is. It really is. I know you've been kind of wearing some Sitka stuff for a while now, but dude, I'm pumped.
It's nice stuff. Yeah, when I had my doubts too. I was like, man, like I have this like some nice like scent blocker stuff. I was like, is this Sitka stuff? I mean, it's not cheap. It is not cheap. I'm like, is this stuff like legit or what? So I got a couple things, and then as soon as you feel it and put it on and see the way it fits and like everything about it is like really well thought out for it. Like if you buy a jacket for a specific purpose, like it's gonna nail that purpose. Like they have everything's laid out with like little pockets and this and this. It's just like they just nail stuff.
Yeah,
really cool. And it's stuff that, I mean, if you take care of, I mean, you can wear the rest of your lifetime.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. You could just tell it's that quality.
And that's the thing where like that's one of my faults is like I know that, but it like takes me forever to like commit to it. And so I finally committed to it, and I know I'm gonna have that stuff forever, you know what I mean? Because I take care of my stuff. I mean, obviously I've got my my Winchester jacket.
Right. If that thing's lasted for 20 years, you're gonna be all right.
That thing zipper's probably broken on that thing, like dude, whatever. Yeah. But if nothing else, we're gonna look awesome this year.
Yeah, we are. We are gonna look awesome.
So good. Oh, so I'm excited about that. Let's see what else.
What other gear you rolling with?
Well, I had to get a deer cart. So like that's something I never had to have before. I had to get a deer cart.
Did you? Wow, we got the cat just blowing stuff over.
Oh man. I thought you got rid of that cat.
He's been biting my leg the whole time. Like if I'm sitting here, so people that are watching, they can see this, but if you're not, if you see like one of these like quick arm moves, it's like I'm swatting him in the face.
What's his problem?
I don't know.
Feed that thing. He's hungry.
Yeah, he is hungry. I
Throw
don't
him,
even know what we were talking about. I don't even know.
throw him a chicken leg or something.
I
Get him
know.
low on that chicken leg.
I know. What were we talking about? I don't even know.
No, I was saying
Deer cart.
deer cart.
Did you get the deer cart?
No, I have it lined up.
Yeah,
I have to get that. So the deer cart's important because, like, if I'm 3 miles in there, like, I'm either gonna bone that thing out, like, and pack it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, not bone it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't think of the word. I'm thinking of quarter it up, right, and pack it out.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So I'm going to get myself a deer cart.
Yep.
Not that exciting though. Deer cart's not that exciting.
It's not that exciting, but it will be exciting when you don't have to drag a deer out.
See it back there.
Ridiculous.
That's true. And not exciting. It's a utility piece. It's like it's like not exciting. I'll tell you what though. You know what I did do?
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this yet. I went back. So I was shooting the Muzzy. Oh man, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's a hybrid broadhead. So it's 2 fixed and 2 mechanical.
Yeah.
And I went back to what I used to shoot forever that I never had any issues with. Not that I had any real issues with the other one.
Yeah.
The hybrid one, but I went back to the Muzzy MX3s, got myself 2 packs of those, and just doing what's always worked, man. Just I don't know what made me go back to it, but I'm just gonna go back to what worked, what always worked for me. Because I needed new broadheads anyway. So
yeah. I'm actually thinking about, I like my broadheads. I shoot wasp. I'm not like a broadhead like snob or anything. I could care less, right? If those run out and I got another one sitting there, it's a different brand. Like if it shoots straight, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about going back to the first broadhead I ever used is E5 Montec. Just like a fixed blade. It's like a super solid broadhead. And so I was thinking about maybe going back to that. But right now I have the wasp. So
gotcha.
I don't know. Who knows?
Trying to think. I don't think I have anything else coming in.
Anything else?
I'm getting I need a new bow case because I'm gonna so decided not to ship my bow this year. So I am gonna travel with the bow. I learned it's a lot easier than I thought it was to travel with your bow. You literally just put your bow in your case, you take it, you check it like a bag, and that's it. Like, I mean, I'll put TSA locks on that thing and put some of my clothes in there and stuff like that, and boom, done. And I'll have my bow when I get off.
I got a new bow case this year, actually.
You got a new bow. I don't know if you even talked about that.
I did get a new bow. I'll get into that.
Okay, I know you got 2 like pretty big or 3 big purchases. So
I got the new bow case. It's I think it's a Plano, like all weather something.
That might be the same one I'm getting. So it's a Plano. You know who told me?
It's awesome.
You know who told me to get the Plano case?
Yeah.
Mike Hunsinger from.
Yep, it's that one. I read the message. I looked it up. Super cheap case. It has a key. It locks automatically. There's keys that come with it.
Yep.
I mean, that thing is solid. You could run that thing over with a truck.
It's TSA approved. And honestly, when I looked at it the first time, I was like, but the thing's plastic. Like,
dude, it's not. It's heavy duty and brand new. I think it's $100.
Yeah, they're $99.
I bought one off a guy on Craigslist that he never used for $50.
Okay.
Like you can't beat that. Like $50.
So I'm literally gonna that's literally on my list to get either tonight or tomorrow.
Highly recommended. Everybody's looking for a bow case. I think it's called the Plano All Weather. Highly, highly recommended. I love mine. It's awesome.
Yep. And it says in the description for
if you're gonna fly
for flying. Yep.
Perfect. Because I know I'll be, potentially flying to Texas and some other hunts. So I wanted to get one that I could fly with. Highly recommended. So
love it. So, dude,
go ahead.
That's all I got. I want to hear about your Sitka bag.
Oh, my Sitka bag. Yes.
You got to show it. Do you have it? Can you show it?
I have it in the other room.
Oh, I want to see this thing. I haven't seen it yet.
I could run and get it. Do we do that on the podcast?
Yeah, just go over and get it.
I'm going to get it.
Yeah, I'll hold up the phone.
You can blab.
Go get the thing. Guy's getting his Sitka bag. All
All
right.
right, we're
There he
back.
is. He's back.
If you're not watching this on video, you're missing out right now.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
time.
This is why you got to watch the video
time.
podcast. Go to our YouTube page, subscribe, and then you'll be able to see all the new stuff.
Gotta see it.
Yeah.
This is
Look
the
at that thing.
Sitka tool bucket. It's called
Tool bucket.
tool bucket. Okay, so on the back here, the big thing about this one is for your tree stand. So what you do is it actually unzips and comes in half.
Oh.
You take the back off, and then you strap your tree stand in here. You put it back together, and now your tree stand is in between the actual backpack and this, which is like solid. So it's an
Wow.
easy way to carry your tree stand.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I love that. I also love it too. How I'm
So
gonna
then,
use.
so wait, hold on. So then it zips back up.
Hold on, I just ripped my headphones out. Go ahead.
I guess I have two questions. So it zips back up, and then you just use like a
does.
normal backpack.
It can zip back up, or you can like strap it down. But yeah, it'll go back together basically.
Can you put your camera gear in there, or not
Yeah,
really?
I'll get to that on the
Oh,
front.
okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Carry
So
on.
then what you can also use this for is, and I'll use it a lot for, is taking clothes into the stand. So I'll just like unzip this. I'll strap a bunch of my clothes in between the actual bag and my straps. And then I can carry all my clothes in, just so I don't sweat when I'm going in. Then I have everything in there. So that's nice.
Your coveralls. You can strap your coveralls in there because you'll be taking them in like October 16th.
Oh,
Full
for
Sitka
opening day.
coveralls.
Opening day.
Ridiculous.
Opening day. All right, I'll try to back up here. So one of the things I also love about this, now this zips, but it's held down by this like clasp.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that holds it down. So then it opens up into the bag.
Look at that.
So when you open your bag, if you leave it unzipped on the inside, you actually don't have to make any noise opening your backpack, which I
Wow,
love.
I like
So
that.
it's just this, and then to open it, you just unclasp this little thing. Boom, your backpack's open. So I love that.
Wow, that's great.
And then on the inside, it's almost like a tool bucket. So it opens up into like this big pouch here. And then there's all kinds of like little pockets on the side. On the top here, there's all kinds of like zip pockets you can put stuff in and keep super organized. So it's going to be really, really good for camera gear.
Yep.
I bought like an insert, not Sitka, just like I bought like a camera like organizer thing.
Is it plastic?
It is not. It's just
Okay.
like a
So
like a
you
thing
have to,
put lenses in.
dude, you have to go to, well, if you have something right, I guess you don't need that. But
Yeah.
like now that you showed me that pack, I've seen that there was a YouTube video. If you YouTube it, you could see it. But there was
Yeah,
some guy that bought
I
this like
saw it.
plastic. You saw it, and he stuck.
He
the
bought like
thing
a
in there.
cereal box thing.
Something, yeah.
That he puts in there. And I thought about doing that. But I found just a camera thing that is like an insert and organizer that fits right in there, and I'll drop my camera in. I don't know.
Perfect.
I just think it's going to be a sweet bag. It's because for filming and for carrying my tree stand in, and if I'm not carrying my tree stand, for carrying all my clothes in, it's going to be nice. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I mean, I could use that thing at the Hagerman. I'm
Good.
just thinking. I'm like, cause I get my stand in
nice.
there.
It's pretty sweet.
Because that's always a challenge, honestly. Because you take like it's so hard to like strap your bag to your tree stand and hike in 2 miles. Like you can do it, but dude, your back's killing you by the time you come back out.
For sure.
So I usually just put the pack on and I strap my sticks to the back of the pack, and then I carry my stand in. And the muddy stands aren't heavy, so but it's still like you're still carrying a stand in your bow. You know?
Yeah, and you could basically put your stand between the two parts, and then 2 sticks in like each side pocket, and carry your bow, and you're in.
You're good.
So I'm pretty excited to try it out. I have like really, really high expectations for this bag. So I'm hoping that there's not something that I'm missing or it's uncomfortable, because it seems awesome.
Cool.
We'll see. So that's my bag.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing for this year was a bow for me, which has
huge.
Yeah, there's been some things with the bow.
What do you mean some things with the Isn't it a brand new Matthews bow?
It's a brand new Matthews bow. It's a sweet bow.
What bow is it?
It's the Vertex. And it's a sweet bow. I really, just the way it shoots, it's so quiet, it's fast, it's nice. Got like a nice hybrid sight on it. So one that has 3 pins, but then it has a wheel. So my bottom pin is a floater pin. So it's 20, 30, 40. And then my 40 can go from 40 to 100. I can just
Gotcha.
turn my wheel. And so I started shooting it, and I was like really, really struggling with shooting. So I'd shoot like 3 arrows, and I'd shoot like 2 that were near each other. They weren't near the bullseye. And then a third one that was like way off. All right. This would be to like the left of the bullseye. And then I'd shoot another group. It would be like to the right of the bullseye. And there's like 2 near each other and 1 off. I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm shooting like 20 yards. I'm shooting flyers like 6 to 8 inches off. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Wait, but you weren't initially, right?
No, I shot like okay in the beginning, but this happened like pretty quickly, pretty early on.
And you got
I
it
was
tuned up good, right? You got it
Yeah,
tuned
I
up at the
took
bow
it
shop.
to a couple different shops to have them look at it. Everything looked fine. Like there was like nothing wrong with it. Like I got new arrows like to match like the exactly how I wanted for the bow. Like I have like a nice sight. I have a QAD rest on it. Just nothing made any sense to me. It was definitely a heavier bow. So that was part of it. And my draw length was like longer than it used to be. I shoot like a shorter draw length. I like a little more bend in my elbow. I know that's not really what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
but that's how I've shot for probably 8 years.
Yeah.
So like I just didn't want to change. So I shortened up my draw length, and I still was like struggling. So I did a couple things. I realized one that I mean when you're shooting like right and left like that, like you're torquing your bow. Like that's what's happening. Like
Right.
I'm torquing it right or left. And it's probably the grip. So I was messing with different grips, still couldn't figure it out. So one thing that I did was on my sight, it has a level. And I normally like with my old bow, I don't even know if it had a level. I never looked at it. So this one, every time I drew back, I would look at the level, and I'm like trying to level it out. And then I'm trying to find my target, and then I look back at the level, and like I think I was just like, focused so much on the level that I was torquing the bow. So the first thing I did was I was like, I gotta just stop. The one day I got so sick of shooting bad, right? I picked up my bow. I was like, I'm not gonna worry about grip. I'm not gonna look at the level. I'm gonna pick up my bow wherever I grab it. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna put the pin on the target, and I'm gonna shoot and see what happens. Picked it up, pulled it back, shot, bullseye. I'm like, what the heck? Like I've been doing all this other crap, right? So I started doing that. So I ended up putting a piece of black tape over my level on my sight. So I stopped looking at it, right? So now I'm like shooting good, right? Now I'm like getting pretty close. And then I just started messing with my grip like a little bit. And now I'm like, I mean, I'm shooting pretty good from 40, like pretty consistent from 40. Like, so
What is your grip like? Like, do you, I know you can, there's a couple ways you can hold the bow.
yeah.
Like how, do you grip
Yeah.
the bow at all? Cause I
So
don't grip mine really.
right. So that's something that I've had to get used to. So Matthew's grip is different for a couple reasons. One, a lot of bows like the grip is like in the dead center of the limbs. And for some reason Matthew's is slightly lower.
Notice
Don't know
that.
why. So I get used to that. And their grip is like pretty straight up and down. So, and other grips are kind of facing forward. So like
Okay.
your wrist has to like on other ones, it's like this. And on Matthews, it almost has to like come back because it's straight up and down.
Gotcha.
So I kind of haven't felt like I could get like a consistent grip yet. So what I've been doing is now how I've been gripping, I kind of tuck my 3 bottom fingers in, and then I just grip it with like my index and my thumb, and I basically just put the grip of the bow on like the meat part of my thumb.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing, and then my other 3 fingers just kind of hang.
Yeah.
And then because with the meat part, it kind of takes away the torque because there's some padding there. If you get it too far into your palm, like any little movement, you're gonna torque it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. I kind of changed my grip. I stopped looking at the level on my sight because I know I can shoot. Because like in the middle of all that mess, right, where I like dude, I just got this brand new bow. I can't hit squat. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go pick up my old bow tech, my 7
No.
bow tech, right? Bing, shoot the next one, arrows are touching. Shoot the third one, 3 arrows touching. I'm like, okay, clearly I can shoot,
Yeah.
right? I'm not the best shot in the world. I'm not claiming to be that, but I've shot a lot and I
Yeah.
know I can shoot. So I was like, I'm just doing something wrong. Like this bow can shoot. I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so now it's just a matter of getting used to this bow. I know people say when they change the Matthews, it takes some time to get used to it.
Yeah.
And making some tweaks, but I was in panic mode for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was in panic mode.
Guy almost hung up his brand new Matthews for the year and just used the Bowtech.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't want to really talk about it with anybody. I wanted to just figure it out. I had conversations with Dylan about selling my bow. That's where we were at. Like
What did
that's
he
how
say?
serious it was.
Did he help you through a little bit of that? Or
Yeah,
was
some
it
of
hard for
it,
him
some of
too?
it. And he was just like, dude, he's like, some people just can't shoot a certain bow. He's like, if you have to, you have to. So I was like getting like close to being like, I gotta sell this. And that would have
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, dude, if it's not,
Yeah.
you know how important it is to have a bow that you're comfortable with and you get in a tree,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's obligation to do it. So I'm glad you figured it out, man. It can be those little things too. And now it's
Yeah.
just a matter of reps, I think, right? And just
It is.
getting
And man, it's crazy how much like up here,
yeah.
like, what's in your head affects your shooting. Like the second you hit a couple good shots and you start getting that confidence flowing, man, that bow just comes right back. Your arrow just your pin just sits right on that target.
Yep.
And you just start, hitting the bull like easy when you get that confidence going.
The one thing I've been doing different this year than I did in any other year is
Yeah.
like I know this is not the right thing to do,
Yeah.
but I very rarely would ever shoot a broadhead, like practicing, ever.
Yep.
I would shoot field tips and
Yep.
broadheads they do fly different. I mean, I don't care if you have, because I know there's broadheads out there that they claim fly just like field tips.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't tested them, so I don't
My
know.
all the broadheads that I've ever shot have flown a little bit different.
They fly a little different. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be much. If it's too much, then
No.
of course you've got issues, but
Of course.
they fly different. So I'm at, we're coming up on the season. I mean, next week I might go out actually and try and get a doe.
Yeah.
Texas opens up and it's going to be super hot, but I like to get some venison in the freezer. I don't have an empty freezer. So but I'm at the time of the year now where I'm shooting one a day. It's that one shot, 2 shots a day. So I have an arrow with a MX3, old MX3 on it, and boom, it's 10 yards in there. It's just at this point it's muscle memory, and so I've been doing that with a broadhead. So I've been doing that different this year. Hopefully that'll make it
for
a little
sure.
bit difference.
Well, one final thing that you'll probably get a kick out of. And I'm telling this for a reason too. So the weighting of the bow didn't like feel right to me. It felt like when I held it out that my pins were kind of bottoming out. So I actually have been shooting recently. I put it back on and I've been okay, but I was shooting for a while there without a stabilizer on, because the stabilizer was pulling the weight down a little bit and was pulling the pins down slightly. And so there's basically 2 options. You can lighten your stabilizer, which I made it as light as it could, or you can actually put, which a lot of guys are running, like a back bar to kind of balance out the weight. And like for a hunting bow, like
it's tough.
I really just don't want a ton of weight on my bow. Like I want it as light as possible, and I don't want all these other bars sticking out. So I was like, I'm just gonna take my stabilizer off and shoot, and I've been shooting well
without the stabilizer on.
Yeah. Yep. And so I put it back on the past couple days, and I've been shooting fine again. So I think I'll keep it on.
I probably would.
But if I wasn't, like, and the reason I say this is like, you just got to find what works for you. Like if you shoot your bow better, like without a stabilizer, like just shoot your bow, and I think people just a lot of times get caught up in like, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that. Like if you're going out and you want to make a 20-yard shot on a deer, however you can do that consistently time after time after time, just do it. You know what I mean? So
for sure, man.
I don't know.
I mean, I would think and I have no idea. This could be completely off base, but I would think where the stabilizer, where you might not notice it right now, because it's just, you're standing there, you're shooting into your
Sure.
target. I would think where the stabilizer really might help you though is some of the awkward shots you might have to take in a tree stand.
Yeah.
You're leaning down, maybe it's windy, something like
Sure.
that. It might be that just that little bit that can help you. So
Sure.
man, if you can shoot with the stabilizer on, like you said, I
Yeah,
probably would try and get back to doing
yeah,
that.
I'm going to. I don't think I wasn't really ever planning to not shoot with it, but like to get back in a rhythm, like
Yeah.
that's what it took for me.
Yep. Yep.
And I did that, and so I'm gonna shoot with it on now. And if it gives me trouble, like I'll mess with something else. Maybe I'll find like a small back bar or something,
Yep.
or whatever. But you gotta just find what works for you. You have to,
For
and
sure.
whatever makes you confident, like 100% confident. Now I know we're never 100%, but like you need to walk into the woods 100% confident that any shot you're going to take is going to be a lethal shot. And if you
Yep.
don't go in 100% feeling that way, you really shouldn't be going into the woods.
Yep. I agree, man. And to add to that, I'm a firm believer that you need to get to a place as an archer that when you walk into the woods, the last thing you're actually thinking about is where your anchor point is when you draw back and all the other stuff. You
You won't
cannot
think
be thinking
about
about this.
any of that when your deer's coming in. It's
No.
all instinct.
No. And it has to be instinct, right? Because if you are shooting, trying to think about those things and whatever, when you get in the woods and that deer gets in front of you, you're not going to think about those things, and it's
Nope.
not going to be muscle memory. So
Nope.
look, I get it. Like, it's hard to like block time away to shoot and stuff like that. And I'm definitely not perfect with it at all. Like, I should shoot probably way more than I do, but I know there's guys out there. I mean, I know people that pick their bow up literally a week before the season.
Yeah.
They shoot a couple arrows and they go out in the woods. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, you just need that consistent muscle memory.
You do.
So
I mean, it's crazy to me that people do that. I mean, I've literally been shooting my bow for the past month, like minimum once a day. Sometimes I shoot my bow 3 times a day. Like I'll shoot it at lunch, I'll shoot it after work, and then I'll shoot it again at night. And I still like feel like I need to be shooting more, like
Yeah.
honestly. And yeah, it's all instinct, like you said. You have to be prepared.
Yep, for sure.
So,
Man, so we got some new goodies. Sick
some
of gear
new-
this year. Got a Matthews bow,
Phew.
and we're all ready. Like I said,
I think we're ready.
we might not see a deer this year, but at least everything will look good.
We will look
So
we will look good. We will look like pros.
that's so funny, dude. What does that even mean?
I don't even
Pros. What's
know.
a pro?
I have
What does
no
that even
idea.
mean?
Nothing.
Like
Means
the
nothing.
pros.
It's great.
So if you're a pro out there and you're listening to this, please don't be offended.
Don't be, because we are not by any means.
Dude, I think we should wrap this thing up. But before we wrap it up, we need to talk
Yes.
about what's on our mind with our new upcoming. I don't want to say branding because that's not really the thing. Like what we're going to be kind of launching in the next probably week or two here.
Yes.
We kind of just wanted to let everyone know to kind of look out for it. But we've talked a lot about. We constantly talk about like the brand of Rooted and like what kind of videos do we want to put out, and but honestly, like what is something we're going to really enjoy putting out, that we're going to consistently put out, because that's the key to it. And we've talked about doing vlogs and cinematic films, and we've done a little bit of kind of everything. I think the main thing, and this kind of came to us, we were talking about even some of the other stuff that we see out there on YouTube, and how fun it is to watch and like impactful it is, and also how it's not overcomplicated, but there has to be some sort of a theme, right?
Yeah.
And we felt like we just didn't really have a theme. Like, we were Rooted Outdoors, we're putting some vlogs out there, we're doing this Hagerman journal, and like, not that stuff's bad, but it's like kind of all over the place. So we want our YouTube channel to be like a channel, like a TV channel, that if you go to it, you can click on a playlist and you know what you're going to get. So we came up with this theme that we're going to implement this year called This is Hunting. and it's gonna be season 1 of This Is Hunting, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything that we do is gonna go into This Is Hunting, and that's gonna be basically the series. I don't know what else you want to say about it right now. We're still kind of putting things together,
Yeah.
but we're excited about it because it's going to be the main purpose of it is and I know like a lot of people say this, well, I just want to show what hunting's really about, but we truly are. Like, it's going to be things that things that come up in the field that people might even hesitate to talk about, like not because it's um of bad color or something like that, like, or that it's I don't know how to explain it, something that shouldn't be shown, but something that maybe somebody wouldn't talk about because they wouldn't think it would be interesting, but it's a really important, impactful thing that happens during hunting. Because honestly, as hunters, we have an obligation to shed a good light on hunting, but then also show what hunting is. And if you're an archery hunter, you've probably wounded a deer, and if you didn't wound a deer before, God bless you. At some point, you're probably going to, and it's part of hunting.
Yep.
Like, you can show it in a way that this is what happens. And if it does happen to you, because it's hunting, it's an animal, we're human beings, we make mistakes. How do you confront that issue? What's the emotion that goes through you?
Yeah.
And I think it'll also allow guys to maybe hopefully look at situations that we go through in the field, successes and challenges, and say, oh man, like I went through that too. Like, it's not just me. Man, I felt bad that I felt the way I did, but these guys feel like that, right? So
Right.
it's okay, right? So
Right.
I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
No, that's perfect. I think for me, the biggest thing with kind of doing this is just getting some clarity for us, like what we're trying to do. And we always talked about like what is rooted outdoors, and it's hey, we're just some guys and we kind of film our hunts and we do some of this, and I feel like by creating this theme that it's like, hey, we have a YouTube channel called This Is Hunting. This is what it's about. This is what we're trying to show, like what hunting truly is, like every aspect of it, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the up, the down, everything. We're going to try to show everything, right? It's not just hunting season, right? There's then after the season, there's summer, there's all sorts of things that go into it. Um, and we just want to capture it all and show it all, and that's something that we've always been passionate about, but I feel like we could never get to a point where we knew how to like show that. We just like would put like a little bit of stuff here and a little bit here and a little bit here, and we didn't know how to like talk about who we were and what we were trying to do. I feel like this clarifies like so much of it and encompasses so much of it into one thing for us that that's what I'm most excited about.
yeah.
And I think people will be able to relate to it. Like most of our videos we're probably not going to kill something. I mean, that's just going to be the reality of it. But people can relate to that, and you know, there can be a lot of excitement and a lot of emotion in a video and in a hunt and in an outdoor experience that doesn't involve killing, and that's what we're truly trying to get across.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of no kill
A
films,
lot of no kills.
but yeah, but man, and I
There's so much.
know
Yeah.
it's going to be a really, really how do I say, like, it's going to be a really good way for us to also use our experiences and stories to share how God shows up. You know what I mean? And using those
Yeah.
examples and things like that too, because we have those examples all the time that we talk about. We don't necessarily film them all, or we don't necessarily
Right.
talk about them all. And then also times where, like, honestly, you might be challenged. Your faith might be challenged, right? Because it happens. Like, we're not perfect.
For sure.
It's a constant and being intentional about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know, man. I'm excited about it,
So
and I'm
much.
excited to get going. I know you're working on the intro and stuff now, which is
Yep.
gonna be really cool. So there's going to be a lot of content coming out. It's all going to be under This Is Hunting, and the Hagerman stuff will be under This Is Hunting. The cinematic film type stuff that we do will be under the Breaking Dawn brand, which is our film company. So
Yep. It's good stuff, man. Man, I can't believe we're gonna be in a tree soon. Like, it's crazy.
Dude, you need to I know you say you're just going to wait until something pops in front of you, but dude, you need to get some spots. You need to get a spot to get into. Your season's open right now, and I guarantee you haven't even washed your clothes yet.
I haven't.
I knew it.
It opened Saturday. In my defense, I have a day.
The guy. Have you organized your gear yet? That's the question. Like, are your boots sitting in the stinky garage right now?
They might be.
Dude, come on. I can't
Yeah.
be in a tree with you with stinky boots.
I know.
On,
I'm gonna throw this out there just because if anybody out there has any hunting spots that I can hunt, I'm a good guy. I really am. Like, I'll come inside, we can have some coffee and talk. Whatever you want to do. I can sweep your driveway off of leaves. I can rake a little.
What other skills do you have? Come on, you gotta.
That's like a majority of it. Like, I mean, I can shoot a bow without a stabilizer. That's kind of cool.
You can film stuff, right? Like, if they have an event, like a birthday party, if they have a birthday party,
pictures.
Yeah, take some photos. Yeah, for sure.
So listen, if anybody needs someone to come over, right, and I'll sweep your driveway of leaves, and I'll take some pictures at a birthday party, and then I'll go to the woods and hunt, we can work something out. So you let me know.
Yeah, and we're very generous with deer meat too. So yeah,
very generous.
I mean, half a deer, the whole half a deer, whatever you need.
We'll get you.
Man, you might as well get specific as to where you're looking to hunt. My gosh, it's just anywhere in the world or what?
I mean, I live in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, so anywhere near Coatesville would be
within a 5-mile radius.
I'm looking for. Typically, I only hunt like 150 plus acres, and there has to be some ag on it. But other than that, I mean, I'm pretty flexible.
Oh man, guys begging for properties.
Dude, I'll do whatever at this point. I'm hurting.
I love it, dude. But I'm telling you, man, you might not need more than one property this year. You know.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Well, I gotta get going because I want to check and make sure we didn't get another email from our cell cams this afternoon that I missed.
I know, we got to get on that.
We didn't get one this afternoon. What the heck?
Yeah, we're not hunting.
What's the weather like today in Pennsylvania? Something keeping the deer down or what?
Nah, nothing specific.
No.
Normal day.
They're probably logging. That's what kept them down.
Yeah. Great.
Man, dude, it's always fun. It's been fun.
It has.
It's good to do some what would you say, unfiltered podcasts?
Unfiltered. I think we need a guest though. I think people can only take us blabbing so much until.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out there because I talked to her last night about this, and you and I kind of brought this up before, but I think our biggest hit podcast is coming up.
It is. I talked to
when we bring the wives on.
I talked to her too. I talked to my wife too.
She in?
She was very, very skeptical, but I'll get her in.
So also skeptic on this end, but I think she was kind of excited to like shed the real light on like what it's like to be the wife of a hunter.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of nervous a little bit. I know we can edit a lot of it out, but
I'll be a little nervous too, but it'll be good.
It'll be good. So I think that's our next podcast. And then we got Josh Milligan coming on again. If you guys don't know Josh, and we're going to talk something. We already know the topic on that one, and we're going to go deep on that one. And
that one could ruffle a couple feathers.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too, honestly, because it's something that like I'm passionate about and I believe strongly in. And if someone disagrees, that's okay. Yep. But I'm going to defend my case with this topic.
Do we want to tease it? Tell the topic or no?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, throw it out there. Well, the topic is do I even remember the topic? Now that you say that. I think the overarching wasn't it like the kind of what hunting is about?
That's
right?
How it came about. It's what is this about and why are you hunting? And we're going to dive deep into like honoring the animal.
Big one.
We're going to ruffle feathers because there is just, and here we go, right? We might as well not get into the topic, but there's way too much out there right now. I just saw a YouTube video last night, and I'm just going to say this because this is kind of where we're going to go down this road. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you like and what you like to watch when people hunt, but there is no place for wounding or shooting an animal and keeping the camera on for a minute after the deer
Don't
goes
need to.
down and is dying. There's just no need to show that. There just isn't. There's no need
Nope.
to show that.
Nope. And I'm all for like getting excited when you shoot an animal and you kill an animal that you worked your butt off for. Get excited, be happy. But man, I just don't understand how you can watch an animal suffer and die, because sometimes they do. Like, and that's like hard to watch.
Yes.
Like I can barely watch that. I've watched it before and that kills me.
Yeah.
Like, if you can be watching that and be okay with watching that and being excited about that, I can't get on board with that. I just can't.
Nope.
And I don't want to get too much into this because I know we'll get into it.
It's
And
a
I'm
different.
already, my blood pressure is already going up, so I'm
It's
going to cut it off.
It's a difference between like showing what hunting is, right, to a point. Like there's a way to like talk about that type of stuff and show, but like, dude, just shut the camera off.
Right.
I'm sorry. Shut it
Right.
off. Like, I don't know. Anyway, man. Well, now we got all fired up. So
Yeah. Now I need to go take a shower.
yeah,
Jeez.
I'm gonna go check my emails for more cell cam pics, and I'm going to talk to my wife about being on the podcast. So
Perfect.
hey, man, dude, couple weeks, and we'll be in Pennsylvania together hunting, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got, man. It was good catching up.
Yep.
And we will talk to you guys soon. Go subscribe to our Facebook page so you can get notifications for all the new stuff coming out for This Is Hunting and all the podcasts, and go to our Facebook and our Instagram. We actually, please go to our Instagram. We never beg for likes or any of that, but we're, I believe, at like 920 Instagram followers. So we love to get to 1,000 by hunting season. Need that. It
help us.
Yeah, I mean, it will help us get more of the message out and that kind of stuff. So go there and share our Instagram, like it if you don't, that kind of thing. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And we'll be talking to you again soon. See ya. Take care. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with everything happening at Rooted Outdoors.